if you clicked on this video, you're probably thinking, how the heck did this girl make 6 figures as a creative when creatives aren't supposed to make money? Because, we always hear that stigma, artists, creatives, they broke. But it's partially true. But the money is to be made. And I'm going to tell you how to make it, okay? So the first thing about it is, what is my actual job title? Yes, I am an artist. I am a creative. But I'm also, too, an art director. An art director works with copywriters to come up with ideas for campaigns. They pretty much are the people responsible for the overall visual. Anything that you see from a company that's visual, the commercials, the ad campaigns, the experiential, the social media, somebody like me touch that and they making money from it. Okay, so do you off the bat start making 6 figures? No, you probably start off making, I started out making $70,000 and stuff. Some jobs are more like in the 60 range, but you can in this day and age, 60 to 70 is where maybe you might start out at. And then as you progress, you can make up to like three, is endless, because depending where you work for, you could be making like $300,000, $500,000. Okay. Now, is that everybody? No, but you'll more likely see people between the 70 to like 200 something $1,000 range is like what's really reasonable and stuff for like an art director, senior art director, and then once you become a creative director, that's when you'll start seeing the big bucks, okay? The big buckaroonies. How did I find out about this job? Because not a lot of people know what an art director is, okay? So pretty much I was studying to be a psychiatrist, okay? Like, your girl was a valedictorian. She as in me, because why are we talking in third person? Ugh. I was studying to be a doctor, okay, because I was valedictorian and had all these scholarships, and people were like saying, this is what you're kind of supposed to be doing as a person that is smart and whatever. But with that being said, I had a friend that knew me, and she was in the IMC department at our school. I think she was interning to be like something in marketing at an ad agency in Atlanta. And I'm just seeing her like, ooh, watching her Snapchat. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty cool. What are you doing? She was on a commercial set for, I think, Toys R Us. It was so cool. I remember that moment, and I DM'd her, and then she told me about becoming an art director. And I was like, what's that, girl? Like, sounds like, like, I'm not going to school, to become a creative or whatever. Who knows what that is or whatever. Craziness. She sits me down and she tells me what a creative director does and like all this other stuff, and like I see how much money they make, and I'm just like, that's about as much as what I would probably make becoming a doctor or lawyer, so let's try this out. I'm like, okay. I sat down. So there's like multiple schools that you can go to. I was choosing between 2 programs. I was like, either I'm going to go to Miami Ad School or I'm going to go to Creative Circus. Okay. I go to like this workshop for a Snapchat filter. And then it just so happens the people from Miami Ad School come to talk to the school. I was like, what? Like, I literally never heard of this school a day before my life, but I was like, this got to be like somebody upstairs playing with me. So I'm just like, no way. I was like, this was one of my top choices, and you're here. So they impressed me with like what they were talking about, and they were like, lots of people of color. Like, they need more people of color in the industry, which is true, because 10% of the industry um of people look like me. Okay, but they're trying to make a change. Some people were at the time they were. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just sign up for it and see how this goes. I moved to Atlanta, y'all, and I go to school for like 2 years. I interned at VML Y&R, BBDO, and ended up landing at an agency. Like, and I interned at Golan. I've worked on in my career so far. I've worked on McDonald's, Walmart, mostly Coca-Cola, Sprite, some different things here and there. I specialize in experiential, which means that I was bringing live events. I was doing live events for like these companies, doing activations, the stuff that you see these influencers like, oh, like we're posted up at this like event and the brand has something like really cool. Somebody like me did that. Okay. Even the invite for what influencers go out, people like me, right? So yeah, that is what I do. That's how I got to where I'm at. Let's see. The pros of it, it's every day is not the same. Okay. Every day, every job, every agency is not the same. The pros of it is that you can make a lot of money doing something that you love. But let's talk about the cons of it, okay? The cons is a lot of work, okay? Or maybe I should talk about how do you become one? How do you become one? We're going to talk about that before we talk about the cons, the negative sides and stuff. And then I'm going to end on a positive note. I think that you really have to build your book. You have to have a portfolio, like you can go to school and, major in graphic design or be some sort of creative in like photography or whatever, because some people have like different paths and they end up becoming a creative in the advertising and marketing industry. But you really just have to have a great book, and that's how you get your jobs and stuff. Having that great portfolio, networking. And did I say networking? Networking. Oh God, networking. That is how you get your jobs. It's pretty hard. Now that's the thing. Are these jobs easy to come by? No, but it is a possibility that you could get one, especially if you're living in a major metropolitan city. Like LA has a lot of jobs. New York has a lot of jobs. I wouldn't necessarily say like Atlanta. Like I've tried Atlanta, but like you may Chicago. Those three will do wonders for your career and stuff. Let's see. The negatives. Sometimes you work weekends. Sometimes like you're staying up like super late to create what you're trying to create because you had to start over because something changed with the brief or the strategy, or the creative director was just like, oh, we need to scrap all of this, and they can't do anything about it, and we have to scrap everything and then start up from, the bottom, but it's still due the next day. I'll say that's negative. And the job outlook is really kind of hard because it's like you can't necessarily you can try. There's jobs you can freelance and you don't necessarily have to work at an agency. You'll be working for agencies like freelancing, which is like you can work anywhere in the United States or overseas and stuff. But the only thing about that is like it's still hard to like get those jobs. And that's really the negative outlook about it, is like how do you get those jobs if you don't know anybody? But there's so many events, so many fun things that I've worked on, and so many fun, cool people. Like, I've been in rooms and like it's set at tables that I was just like, I never thought that I would be at. I've met people that I never thought that I would meet, and literally has changed my life on how I think about myself, how I think about the world, how I think about being a creative in general. You just have to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to like really work on your craft, and you never know. Right now, I'm unemployed. I'm looking for work, if that makes sense. But I've been working, and I've had jobs that have signed contracts that are like, hey, we will pay you X amount of dollars, or this amount of hour. The money is there. It's just about landing those opportunities and stuff. Uh, Even if I'm not doing it, somebody is. So there's a possibility that that can happen. But hopefully, if you were wondering what can you do as a creative, what are the possibilities for you, I hope that this video finds you and you're just like, yeah, I want to do that, or consider it at least. Who knows? Y'all have any questions? I might make a part 2. Who knows? But yeah, that's it.